Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do another two-page layout, double page layout, and this will be the last of the double page layouts that I'm doing for my daughter's senior portraits. I am going to do a couple of 6x8 pages because she took some pictures with her boyfriend, and I have a little album for just her that's 6x8. So I don't necessarily need the pictures of her and her boyfriend in her main album. So I do a couple of the smaller pages. So I've brought in 2 pieces of willow white for my base. I'm just going to stick them down here. And I've kind of planned this out already. Still using the Beautiful Ordinary Life DSP from Stampin Up. And here's the papers I'm going to be using today. I'm going to use this watercolor paper. Then I'm using the back side of this pink, flamingo pink ombre. And it's going to go next. It's basically just going to be stripes down the page, but they're going to be cut angled. And then I'm using this stripe, followed by the back side of the yellow honeycomb paper, which is like a black chevron type pencil drawing, followed by the polka dot paper. So I'm going to have 5 stripes going across each page, but these stripes are going to be cut so that they're look like they're going diagonal, but they aren't actually. So I'm going to cut these down and do a couple of them on camera so you can see how I'm cutting them. But for starters, what I need to do is cut each of these pieces into 2.5 inch by 12 inch strips, one for each side of the page. And then once you've got those cut, I'm going to take each of those 2.5 inch strips and cut them in a way where they're slanted. Let me bring these in so I can show you. Each of these have been cut to 2.5 inch by 12 inch pieces. And what they're going to look like, I'm going to show you on camera so you can see how I did this. What they're going to look like is this. And the opposite page is going to come down. I haven't decided if I want them to angle up. I think they're going to do it like this. So they're just slightly angled, slanted. They look like they're going up. So let me show you how I did this. We'll start with these pieces. I'm bringing my paper cutter, paper trimmer, and what I did was I lined this up so that the top corner was at 1 1/4 right here. And then keeping that there, I just angled it over so that this bottom corner right here is on the cutting line. And then make sure it's 1 1/4 still. And then when you close this, I'm going to start with this at the bottom. I'm just cutting off a little angled piece. And I'm going to keep this because I can use these on my 6x8 layouts later. And then I'm going to rotate this and do the same thing. I'm now going to put this corner at 1 3/4 and slightly tilt it so that this bottom corner is at the cutting line. And then I'm going to cut it again. So now I've just cut off 2 angled pieces. Get those out of the way, and it will go over here like this. Now, it's really important when you cut the second one that you flip the paper over. Otherwise, you're going to get 2 of the same pieces, and that won't help you. So now I've turned it over. I'm going to put this corner at 1 3/4 and slant it so that this corner is on the cutting line. And I'm going to cut that. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing. This corner is at 1 3/4. This corner is right on the cutting line. Okay, make sure it's really even. And then I'm going to cut that. So now when I flip this piece over, I'm going to have it angled the opposite direction. Like that. Okay, and then I am going to ink all of the edges of these papers in black because this is the third layout for these photos, and the first 2 also have been inked in black. So I'm going to go ahead and trim all these down and get them inked so that you can see how it looks. I have all my papers inked and cut and down to the base layer. And you can see it's just slight, but a little slight incline up and then a slight incline down. And I just think it brings a lot of extra kind of texture and dimension to the page. So let me bring in my pictures now. I think they're going to go something like this. I'm going to put a 4x6 over here. Before I do this, all of these pictures were printed with the border, the white border, and matted with a black mat that's a 1/4 inch bigger. So this is a 4x6 printed with the white border already. And then these two are 3.5x5s. And I think I'm going to put them like this. And then this one is printed as a 4x6. And this one is a 5x7. I try to print my pictures as big as possible, especially when they're milestones like senior portraits. If they're not as important, then I'm okay with a 3x4, or even smaller if they're just detail pictures. But for something like this, I like to keep my pictures as big as possible. But I also want to keep in mind that I don't want to cover up too much of the paper. So this is what I'm thinking. I have embellishments to use up from this suite, specifically the floral flight accents. These are no longer available, but you can very easily die cut any sort of flowers or stems if you have them. And I originally thought I was going to kind of cut this apart because it's really kind of big. And I think I still may do that, but for now I'm going to kind of put it over here where the open part of the flowers lines up with this watercolor paper, because I have these additional flowers that came from that same floral flight accents. And what I did was, on these bigger flowers, I just backed them with some of this watercolor paper. So I glued it down and I very carefully used my small scissors and I cut at a slant and I just cut out around it so that I could back these. So I want to make sure I back these if I leave that there. I also want to try to make sure that I'm adding elements to this page and the same elements to this page. So I'm thinking maybe one of these over here. The other thing I like to follow is kind of the embellishment trio, where you've got 3 embellishment clusters that draw your eye around the page. So I'm thinking maybe one down here. And then I'm going to back these as well. And then I think I would just add it to each of those so they each get 2 flowers. I'm going to leave those up there for right now. And the other thing I have in that set, I've got one more sprig. I've got a couple of hearts. No, I'm not sure I have hearts left. I do have one butterfly left. And then from my first layout, if you watched my first layout, I cut a bunch of these hexagons, just the borders of them. And so I'm thinking I should pull those in somehow because I already have them. So maybe I take one of the bigger ones. I want them to stand out against the paper. So I'm thinking maybe I can put one over here. Maybe a smaller one tucked in over here. Spray on this side like that. And then maybe I put another flower. Not quite sure. I have to play around with these embellishments and decide if I want to. I really think I'm going to end up cutting this apart because it's just so big, and I think I want it spread across the page. We can try to put one of these down here, maybe something like that. So the next step here is I'm going to go ahead and back these flowers. The butterfly I had planned on putting up towards the top, so I don't think I need to add a backing to it because it will go over. Maybe it goes over here like that. That's kind of cute. So I'll go ahead and back these and mess around with my embellishments a little bit. This page should come together pretty quick. I'm not going to do too much on this one because I did quite a bit on the other two. I will not be putting a title on this one because the title is on the very first layout that I did, as well as journaling. So I just need to embellish this. Okay, I've laid out some embellishments. I did end up cutting this apart, and I took some of the sprigs and put them over here. And I also ended up backing these two because I think I'm going to pop them up on some dimensionals. And I wanted it to really be as bright as these other ones were. So I've got 2 flowers in 3 different spots. I added a little heart. I added 1 hexagon here, and I think I'm going to add some more somewhere else. But then I got to thinking that I think I need to do something with the white parts of this. So I'm going to bring in some stamps, and it always scares me to do this because the layout is practically finished, but I'm going to stamp directly onto my layout. And what I'm going to use is, I tested it out here, is this kind of ruffle. I'm not quite sure what to call that. But the stamp is from the Bordered in Beauty stamp set that comes with this suite. I'll bring it in for you. I've used a lot of this already. This is the first time I'm using this stamp, but I did use a couple of the dies on the other layouts. And when I was looking at it, I really think that's cute, and it would just look really cute kind of, you know, at the very bottom of this, I think. So I'm going to go for it and hope for the best. Oh, I haven't glued anything down yet, so I should be able to move everything I need to. So I'm going to scoot this up a little bit, and I'm going to move this picture up and just the embellishments. And I'm going to do this because the ruffles are kind of going up. I'm just going to do this one on the bottom of this layout. And we're going to just do it really, really carefully and hope that we don't mess anything up. So I'm going to start right on the edge and just stamp. Perfect. And then I'm just going to keep going. I'll do a couple more on camera. I'm going to kind of line that one up to right here and do it again. Yeah. So I'm going to continue to do that all the way across. And then the other thing I think I want to do is this little honeycomb die. And this was from the Extraordinary Life stamp set. But I was thinking about just doing these down where this embellishment cluster is going to be. Kind of a couple in the corner. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. I was in a group Zoom meeting with some members on my team the other day, and we were talking about just scrapbooking and picking out papers and all the things. And one of the gals said, sometimes you just have to go for it. And then once you've done something, it will get, everything else will just kind of fall into place. And the worst case scenario, you just cover it up. So I'm just going to do a few of these over here. Let's see. I'm going to make sure that I know where my picture is going to go roughly, so that I know if I can stamp over the paper. So let's do another one right here. And let's do one more on the bottom right here. Very cute. So then that will come down here, and I'll put my flowers back. I kind of feel like, I don't want to layer them. I think maybe we need one more little corner right there. Let's do one more. Just kind of coming off the page. Yeah. So I will go ahead and finish my stamping along the bottoms, and then I'm going to do this honeycomb pattern up here a little bit, and I think maybe up in this corner. Okay, I did all my stamping. I got my little honeycombs up here, honeycombs over here, and down here. And I like it. I could have got them a little bit close together, but I don't mind. I think it just adds a little bit. It really does draw your eye all the way around the page. I did my stamping down here, and I love that also. Just gives it a little something extra. I added my flowers and one hexagon shape to each cluster, along with some sprigs and one little heart. And then I had this butterfly I ended up putting over here. So I added one butterfly over here just to make sure I had something similar. And then I had two leftover hearts, and I thought that they looked good right there. So I'm going to call this one done. Oh, wait, I'm not. I'm going to add some of these dots. They're on all the other pages as well. So I'm just going to go through and add a few of these. I don't need to do it all on camera, but I'm just going to add a few around each cluster. I'll do a couple just so we can see. Let's add a pink one, and I'm going to do a yellow one right there, and then we'll do kind of this aqua color. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that to all of the other two clusters, and then this one is going to be good. Let me pick it up and show you so you can see it up close. This one doesn't have a whole lot to it, but I don't think that it needs to, because I have two other pages of the same photos, and I don't want to go overboard with it. But I want to make sure that it goes along with what I've done on the other two layouts. Let me bring in the other layouts so you can see them. This was layout number 3. This was layout number 2. So, so pretty. And all of the same papers in this one are also in this one. So it really ties it together, plus a few extras. And then this was the first layout. And these papers aren't in that third layout, but that's okay. They still have this. It's from the same paper pack, so they definitely all go together. I did announce in my last video that I do have a workshop available for these 3 layouts. The workshop includes all of the cutting measurements and sketches for these layouts and instructions on how to put them together exactly as I put them together. The workshop also includes a couple of 6x8 pages that will be shown on my next video, and gives you some suggestions for other embellishments because some of these embellishments are no longer available. But you could use this workshop with any paper pack. It doesn't have to be this one. So anybody who places an order of $75 or more through my Stampin' Up website will automatically get this workshop. I will send it to you using the email that was on the order. So if you're interested in this workshop, go visit my website, place an order. Does not have to be for these papers or this suite. It can be for anything, $75 or more, and I will send you this workshop. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and click on that notification bell. It will let you know when a new video is posted. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I've also listed all of the items that I've used in these layouts in my description. So if you need to go get some supplies, you can check the description on the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.